What's going on, everybody? So for those of you who missed out on yesterday's interview with Dr. Shawn, the developer of the potent purple pill, what I wanted to do right now is give you a recap from yesterday's interview, which was about 30 minutes in length. If you did not see it, I definitely recommend you just take the opportunity to watch or listen on some of your free time. There was just a ton of awesome information packed into that time period. And with that, I wanted to cover with you right now maybe the 5 most important points that came out of that interview. So for those of you who are always looking for the Cliff Notes version of all of this stuff, you're about to get it right now. So point number 1, first thing that we covered was the fact that fat loss is largely a hormonal issue. So for many of those of you, this is nothing new. This is something that we've stated time and time again. It's all about your hormones. Fat loss is not a math equation. So if we are taking the approach of simply trying to eat fewer calories or burn more calories through exercise, it's not a sustainable long-term approach to fat loss. And that's because if you're not addressing the underlying issue, which is your hormones, then you're going to see some result. And the moment you can't keep up with that routine of exercising an hour or more per day, 5 to 7 days a week, or you can no longer just commit to eating fewer than, 500, 600 calories less than what your body actually needs per day, it's going to be really difficult in the long run. So that was point number 1, nothing new there. However, point number 2, that hormonal signaling that we're talking about, the hormones that are responsible for your body burning fat more effectively, well, all of that emanates in the gut. So here we take it the next step. We know that fat loss is largely a hormonal problem, but the bigger problem is that all the hormonal signaling that you're looking for takes place in the gut. And for many people, the gut, it's the weak link in the chain. So if we had a chain representing all the activities that you need to do in order to maximize fat loss, we're talking your exercise, we're talking your nutrition, your water, your sleep, your stress. Those are many of the common activities that we put our focus and attention on, which we should. But even if you are doing all of those things correctly, but you have not addressed the hormonal component, or again, more specifically, the gut component, then it does not matter if you do those things and you're committed to doing them every single day for days on end, for months on end, you're still not necessarily going to see the full benefit of all of those activities. So we must address the underlying issue, which is your gut. Now, we also know that fat loss is multifaceted. So as I just made mention, there are many different components. To say it's just any one thing is just improper thinking, right? And this is what many people are going to do come the new year. They're going to say, oh, I need to lose some weight. So you know what? Let me just add in exercise and think that that's going to do the job. Or they're going to say, let me jump on this new diet and think that's going to get it done. But in the long run, you need to have all the pieces of the puzzle in place. And the challenge, which sort of leads into this second point around this, is that you can do all of these things right and still not get the result that you want. So even if you do commit to doing a really strong exercise program, doesn't guarantee results. You can commit to doing the nutrition program or the new diet, doesn't guarantee results. At the end of the day, you have to have all the pieces in place. Now, here's what happens with most of us, and this is point number 4. What happens with many of us is that we will begin one of these things, or maybe several of them, and then we get frustrated because we're not seeing the results that we want, or we're not seeing them happen as fast as we want. And what winds up happening is that frustration leads us to dropping off some of those healthy habits that we have just started to establish. But then what happens? We go from those healthy habits back to making unhealthy choices or starting to go back to some of our unhealthy habits. And then what that does is that further exacerbates the gut problem. So let me just back up for a moment and explain. When I say you have gut problems, it does not necessarily mean that you are suffering from indigestion. It doesn't necessarily mean that, you constantly feel like you have IBS, right? You have irritable bowel syndrome, or you don't go regularly. That's not necessarily all the indicators that your gut health is not where it needs to be. In fact, lack of fat loss when you're doing all the other things correct is also an indicator that your gut health is not where it needs to be. And the reason is because we have had so many years, maybe even decades of proper dieting and then improper dieting, or just having periods of being inconsistent with the foods we make, or maybe we're making poor food choices, or because of antibiotics, medications, all of these things, they're little things that impact our gut health. So we spoke specifically around the microbiome and that gut bacteria. And if that is not where it needs to be, if it is not healthy, if it's not robust, then you are not getting what you need in order to see the results that you want. And so going back to this cycle of frustration, what happens is when we fall off track and we start to integrate bad habits, bad choices, or we're just very inconsistent with the things that we're doing, that further influences our gut bacteria. So I cannot stress enough the importance of getting this thing straight. I mean, we've been preaching on this for the last 4.5 years, but now it's just becoming even that much more evident as more of the evidence starts to present itself. So anyway, if we're not addressing that, obviously, again, we're going to run into issues. Point number five is where the purple pill comes in. And basically, the purple pill is simply something that's going to provide us some hope. And the reason why it's providing this hope is because it's specifically designed around reaching that gut bacteria that is responsible for releasing those hormones that cause that cascade of things we need to take place in order to burn more fat. So, to summarize, as long as we are focusing our efforts around our gut health and we're doing everything that we can to improve it, that is going to be one of the biggest, most important things we can do in order to influence our fat loss. We can do all the other things, and we should do all the other things. However, this must be addressed. And this is not to say that the purple pill is some magic bullet. It's not. But what it's going to do for many of you, it's going to get you to take that step to getting that gut health right faster, right? And you can already do that with the right strains of probiotics and such. However, if you're not getting the strains that are specific to you addressing that bacteria that's responsible for fat loss, then at the end of the day, I mean, you're going to have a healthier gut, which is great. And in the long run, you probably will arrive where you want to. It's just going to take a little bit longer. And in that process, if it's taking longer and your frustration is building up, then what inevitably is going to happen is that you're going to fall back and do things that will cause your gut health to go in the opposite direction and just further delaying the results that you're looking for. So in the end, the purple pill, once it becomes available mid-January, this is going to be just an awesome tool to put in the toolbox in order to help you accelerate and reach your goals just a little bit faster with a little bit less stress, I should say. So if you want in on it, drop VIP in the bottom so that we could add you to the VIP list, because we know that once it's released, it is going to go really fast. And we're already seeing, because of supply chain and those sort of issues that are going on in the world right now, whether or not supplies last long-term, it's debatable. So we're already seeing this happen, but that's even more reason why you want to jump on this. Don't wait, but also don't wait to start doing some of these things that we know are contributing factors, such as making better food choices, such as engaging in resistance training specifically, because that, along with better sleep, water, lowering your stress levels, all of it's going to contribute in the long run. And we just want to see you have great success. So we will catch you guys tomorrow, and we are closing out the year soon enough. So don't wait until the new year to get started. Get started and now. Get yourself in the right mind frame, and let's go into 2022 with momentum. See you guys tomorrow.